What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Mets Season Review. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the 2019 MLB trading deadline, focusing on the New York Mets. Okay, the Mets actually made some moves. It was weird. Mets bought and sold, but are still going for it. It's kind of like that weird. It's like a weird. I'd say like a weird mix going along right now. Okay, so about a week ago tomorrow actually, the Mets traded for Marcus Stroman, or Stroman. I always forget how to say this guy's last name. Okay, so New York Mets trade Anthony Kay and Simeon Woods Richardson for Marcus Stroman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, I always been a fan of Marcus. I think he's a really good pitcher. I'm actually really excited that he's on the Mets. I think it was a really good trade. The first guy that they traded, Anthony Kay, he is like the scouts say he's like maybe going to be like a 3-4-5 pitcher. So no big deal about that one. And the other guy, he's 18 years old in Single A. You don't know what he's going to be. So I would say this trade was definitely worth it. He's actually pitching tonight, which I'm really looking forward to seeing in his first game pitching for the Mets. I'm really looking forward. I like his style of pitching. I like how he gets emotional. I really think he's a really good pitcher, and I really like how we have DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, and Wheeler. That's a good front four right there. But yeah, I say this trade was nice. This trade got like a lot of people didn't like the trade when I saw this happen on Twitter. I really didn't really care. I was kind of confused on why they traded for him because they're not doing good. I mean, at that time they weren't doing good. They actually just were on a 7-game winning streak. They did lose last night, but I think I'm getting this weird vibe about this team the past week before last night. That like something they're fighting, like they're not giving up, which I really like. I really like to see that. So that was a really good trade. I really think this trade's gonna be good for us. So now that I'm stopped instead of rambling on, let's move on to the other move that they made. So this is where it gets kind of weird. The Mets traded Jason Vargas and cash to the Philadelphia Phillies for Austin Barcett. Austin Barcett is a pitcher. Is a catcher in the Phillies organization. He's a 26-year-old catcher with a 195, 303, 335 slash line in Double-A for the Phillies this year. And here's the kicker. He's former college teammate of Brody Wilpon, Jeff Wilpon's son. There's the kicker. What a stupid return we got for Vargas. Vargas this is last year's contract, but there is, I think, a team option or player option for next year. I'm not entirely sure what it was. I feel like they could have gotten maybe a little better return instead of, Wilpon's son's friend, which I just didn't like it. I get the whole point of getting him out of here because we got the new guy, Stroman. But it's just, it was just weird because then we move on a little bit later in the week. We move on to them talking, Syndergaard's going, Wheeler's going, blah, 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 blah. And they end up not even going. They don't even end up getting traded. I'm really happy the Mets didn't trade Syndergaard. I feel like that's just like a Nolan Ryan trade and like Tom Seaver trade. Like he's just going to end up being just better. Like he's going to end up finally figuring it out and get back to what he was before he hurt his lat. Because to me, Syndergaard really hasn't been the same since he hurt his lat. So I'm really happy with these trades. I'm really happy that Syndergaard and Wheeler are still on the team. I think Wheeler, this is Wheeler's last year of his contract. So if I would have traded any other pitcher, it definitely would have been Wheeler. Maybe trying to get some back. I read this article that there was a potential deal with the Yankees, of course, which I can't stand them. I would never do a deal with them. But I read this article for this one trade is that we would get that Clint Frazier guy. We would get Miguel Andujar, which is hurt, by the way, for this whole year, and we would just send them Zack Wheeler. I don't know if that was even true or on the tables, but I feel like I would make that trade because Andujar would be our third baseman of the future, and then that Clint Frazier kid, I'm pretty sure he's more of a corner outfielder because we're in dire need of a center fielder. So maybe we could have gotten him and then flipped him for a center fielder. Who knows? But that trade didn't happen. And some other news I really wanted to bring up about the trading deadline, because that's all the moves that the Mets made. I just want to talk about the Atlanta Braves. They made some pretty good acquisitions. The Braves are definitely going for it this year. They traded for a lot of pitchers. And then the one other one I really wanted to talk about was briefly talk about, because this video is focused on the Mets, are the Houston Astros, man. The Houston Astros. Who would have thought? Look at this stat. I'll throw this up onto the screen. The Houston Astros, the year is 2011. Astros go 56-106. Garrett Cole is drafted number 1 overall, who is now an Astro. Zack Wheeler wins 16 games with 201 Ks, who they just traded for the trade deadline is now an Astro. Justin Verlander wins the AL MVP with the Detroit Tigers, and guess what? He is now an Astro too. They traded for him 2 years ago. How in now 2019, they're starting 5: Justin Verlander, Zack Wheeler, Garrett Cole, and Wade Miley. And then they got that other guy. I forget his name as their 5th starter. How insane is that? The freaking Astros. Astros definitely won the trading deadline. I would say the Braves came in second. Now, this is all on paper. We don't know because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who's going to make the playoffs or what's going to happen in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. And that's the one thing about the Mets. I'm pretty sure they're 4 games out. When you're in, anything could happen. Anything can happen in the playoffs. We've seen this countless of times with the Kansas City Royals when in 2014, they were losing in the wild card game, and they came back and won and went to Game 7 of the World Series. And I hate the Orioles because everyone knows what happened the following year after that in 2015. But yeah, this was a pretty exciting trade deadline. I wish I had the radio on. I had work for the remaining hour because there was a lot of squeaker deals happening in the end. I guess in a way I kind of do like the new rule that the trade deadline is the only one trade deadline this year, and it's July 31st, and that's it. No second trade deadline in August. So I really like that. I feel like it's gonna make it a lot more exciting, a lot more fun through the following years. So it's definitely gonna be looking forward to. I'm definitely excited to see how the Astros season plays out, the Braves play out, and the Phillies as well, and the Nationals as well too, because they trade. Although everyone traded for people, including them, obviously, the Mets. We want the Mets to be, number 1, of course, but it's going to be very exciting to see what happens. Some other disappointments from teams are the Yankees stayed pat, Dodgers stayed pat, the Cardinals stayed pat, even though the Cardinals are in first place, but they stayed pat. Other than that, this is all just other things I've heard, see on Twitter, listening to MLB Network Radio and Sirius XM, a bunch of other things. Bunch of other things. So that basically wraps up this short trade deadline review video. I think this trade deadline for the Mets potentially could be very good, especially if they keep Syndergaard and maybe bring back Wheeler, or if he accepts the qualifying offer for next year, we can have them as our front 4. That's just an insane rotation. Could be potentially an insane rotation. Even on average years, it's still insane rotation. But if they can all pitch to their potential, it could be a lot of fun watching them pitch for the rest of this year and next year. So that wraps up today's episode of Mets Season Review. If you like this video, please make sure you smash that like button. It really helps me out, and it really helps the channel out as well. And if you want, and also, please let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I really want to hear everyone's opinions on the trading deadline from everyone's teams. If you like what the Mets move and and you don't like their moves, if you like, or you just want to talk some baseball. I love talking baseball. I can talk baseball all day long. So alrighty guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.